Here we have a made up data set consisting of student grades to illustrate how we can use VLOOKUP to determine their grade corresponding to a certain letter. So for instance, here we've calculated the final grade for Nicholas. He has achieved a mark of 34, and we'd like to use a letter that corresponds to that student failing. For instance, it might be a Z for a fail grade, or it might be an X grade depending on your institution. So let's go with X. Let's go with Z. And let's say that Divya's got a 59, so that would correspond to a pass. And Thomas has achieved a mark of 75, that's a distinction. Jay's achieved a mark of 61. Both of them achieved 61, and so on and so forth. And as you can see, we can start making mistakes. Like Ryan achieved a mark of 70 when that should really correspond to a credit. And Mayu achieved a mark of 71, that's a credit. So we want to be able to automate that process, because in this database you can see that there is 360 students, so that's going to take a really long time to do. What's a quick way to do that using the VLOOKUP formula? Well, first of all, we have to set our parameters for what those grades correspond to. So if someone gets a mark of anywhere between 0 and 50, we're going to call that a Z grade, and that's like to fail the subject. If someone gets a 50 or more, they're going to at least achieve a mark of a pass grade. If they achieve a mark of 65 or more, that's a credit. A mark of 75 or more, that's a distinction. And if they're lucky enough to achieve a mark of 85 or more, that is a high distinction. So let's type that in. So that's all the information that we require for this formula. So let's get rid of the manual marks that we've typed in there, and let's see how we can use VLOOKUP. So what we're going to do is type in VLOOKUP. We're going to look at that student's that student's grade, that mark that they've achieved, in this case a mark of 34. We're going to look up that mark and see whether we can find it in this table. So I'm going to select the table from, in this case, C1 to D5. I'm going to use my F4 to put dollars in front of that table in terms of the referencing, so it's always going to reference those cells in absolute terms rather than in terms of relative terms. And I want to return the second column of that table if I do find that value. And here's the trick. Instead of using the false, as we've used in identifying students and their grades with regards to the project and mid-semester exam, in this case we're not going to find an exact match, we're going to find an approximate match. So instead of typing in the word false, like we would use in most cases of using VLOOKUP, we're going to in fact use the word true. So what it's going to do is look up the number 34, it's going to look for it, it's going to go to the 0, 50, and as a result of that it's going to get an approximate match. And you can see that a 34 corresponds to a Z grade or a fail. If we copy that formula down, because we've used absolute referencing, we can see that Divya's mark of 59, referring to that table, trying to find an approximate match, that's going to give us a mark that corresponds to a pass grade. Thomas has got a distinction, and Jay and Ben have a pass. And we can copy that formula all the way down, and we can see that the formula works all the way through, and we haven't made any mistakes in that regards. So hopefully you've found a new way of using VLOOKUP to determine grades for students, and that I'd invite you to refer to my blog for more advice, tips, and to ask any questions you may have about large class teaching. Thank you.